Grable Rescue is a donor-funded, veteran-led international rescue organization. We rescue and evacuate Americans and allies from anywhere in the world, pretty much anytime, anywhere. We've conducted operations in Afghanistan, Ukraine, Russia, Sudan, Haiti, Lebanon, Syria, Israel, Gaza, a couple of other places that we don't talk about, and now Venezuela.
How did this come about? Did somebody contact you? Who contacted you, or did you just volunteer?
Yeah, so we have a good reputation. This is what we do. In Certainly, Maria Machado is overwhelmingly the highest profile person we've ever had to extract from anywhere. Overwhelmingly, certainly she's the highest threat, the person with the highest threat against her. We've broken people out of jail from Russia. We've done hostages from Gaza. We've done all kinds of things. But generally speaking, the people that we have to rescue or evacuate are regular citizens, right? Normal people. Maria is a household name, which makes the problem that much harder. Obviously we know, obviously we know the Sabine and the Maduro regime have been extremely aggressive towards her and her family forever. So, from an operational perspective, we've been working on Venezuela for a very long time. However, however, her case is atypical. She's the first Nobel Prize winner that we've ever rescued, you know? She's the first person we've ever rescued that has billboards with her face all over it in a country. So where there's protests in her favor, we've never rescued anybody of her status and her stature. So we couldn't be, from the Grable Rescue perspective, notwithstanding how hard this operation was, this truly was a blessing. We cannot feel more privileged or honored to be asked to support this operation. She truly is a hero of mine. I've looked at her as an inspirational defender of freedom as long as I've known of her. So to be asked and requested to support this, to conduct this operation, truly was a huge honor and privilege for us.
How were you contacted? Who asked you to rescue her, to evacuate her?
Yeah, the specifics of that is a little delicate that we don't want to get too into, but what I'll say is that uh, um, again we have a very strong presence in this space, and we're some would say the very best at what we do. So we were contacted by some associates and some friends of ours, people who we knew, who were they were kind of they were working on it, and were asked, they asked around, who do you think could pull this off? And it's important to know that this was the first attempt by us, but likely not the first attempt by others to get her out.
Yeah.
The details of that are I don't know, but I'm certain that given who she is and what she is, that we were not the first call. That said, that's how it always is for us. Of our other 799 missions, we're never the first call. We're always the last resort. We're always the last resort, but we do have a 100% success rate. We've never failed in any objective that we've tried to achieve. So when we commit to getting somebody out anywhere, Venezuela or anywhere else for that matter, we won't commit to something that we don't feel confident that we can pull off.
Is it safe to say that the United States government was involved at some level in this operation?
Uh, I don't know. That's again, we're not a contractor for the government. We have no formal relationship with the government. We're not hired by the
This
government.
government didn't hire you, I guess is what I'm asking you.
No, not at all. Not at all. We have no contractual anything with the government. Having said that, because of who we are and what we do, we have an excellent relationship with our colleagues in the government. And any agency or branch within the executive branch, certainly within the legislative branch, we've rescued over 8,400 people globally, and also where we come from. If you look at who my team is, who my board is, We have sacred cows of special operations and intelligence that are on my board that I interact with on a daily basis. Because of who we are and what we do, we very often, it's wrong to say coordinate. That's too strong of a word. Wrong to say collaborate either. That's also too strong of a word, but we have a very deep and good, healthy relationship with many people in the government at all levels, from generals, admirals, ambassadors, intelligence community folks, all kinds of people, where we will very often transmit up, meaning we'll share with our government friends unofficially, what we may have going on to deconflict,
Mm,
right? So if the U.S. government is going to conduct an operation to rescue Maria, and someone else has asked me in Grable to rescue Maria, I want the government to know that we're working on it. That way they can say, "Hey, look, we got this. Stand down. We're
mm,
we're, we're doing an operation tonight." And
mm.
when these things happen, depending on how they go down, sometimes they send very angry men in the middle of the night with lots of machine guns to do these things. So I don't want to be there if they show up. I don't want to be a mistake like that. So we coordinate. Coordinate is too strong of a word. Unofficially collaborate it's kind of like that.
Talk to me about what it took to take Maria Corina Machado out of Venezuela. How long did it take? What were the challenges? What were the risks? Talk.
Yeah, the challenges, we could be here all night.
Yeah.
This was a very, 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 very hard operation with a huge amount of um, counterintelligence concerns, intelligence concerns, kinetic concerns,
Let's
even
talk about how long it took. First of all, how long did it take from the moment you somehow engage in this project to the moment that you deliver her to, I'm thinking, or I read Curacao?
again, it's a sticky area because not everything in media is accurate.
Oh, good to know.
What I'll say is the Caribbean.
Okay.
Uh,
So between the time that you become involved in this extraction or in this rescue and the time that you say goodbye to Maria Corina Machado, how long was that?
two, three, 4 days and change.
Okay. And walk me through what happened.
Obviously, a lot of the operational details we're not going to get into because we still have other work to do in Venezuela, and we don't want to put sources and methods and people who worked on this at risk.
Okay.
And I'm sure you can understand, right? You protect your sources, we protect our sources too,
Right.
right? um, uh, uh, um, this operation had a land component, a very significant maritime component. And after the maritime piece, she flew to Norway. So there was also an aviation component also. The aviation component, going backwards, the aviation component, we were gonna engage on that part too, but some other people figured that out and we didn't have anything to do with the aviation part. But we were ready to do that. We had airplanes ready to go and helicopters and some other things ready to go. But um, that didn't need to happen
Mhm.
operationally. That became more just logistics.
Your operation was land and maritime.
We we had a land we had multiple versions of this plan deliberately because what's important about this operation is that once it started, it could not stop.
Mm.
That's the most important part. So we had backup, we had contingency plans for if one piece did not work, we had some other ideas on how to retrograde and pivot very fast. So that what we didn't want to do is try and then have to go back, and then she goes back into hiding, and then it's now what do we do? That we assess that to be the highest risk, actually, of all the different things that we assess that to be the worst thing that could happen. So
Why did Maria Corina not arrive on time for the ceremony? Did something go wrong?
no, nothing went wrong. It just took time to make sure that it would go. her life was the most important, from my perspective at least. Her life was the most important aspect of this. Um, a ceremony is great, but we don't look at this. We don't look. I don't look at this operation as getting Maria to a ceremony on time. I look at this as saving a freedom fighter's life, saving a mother's life. I don't look at it as making sure making sure she gets the Nobel Peace and all that other thing, all that certainly important. Certainly, I'm not minimizing it, but when we're in the middle of the operation, nobody really cares about the cameras at that moment. We're all just trying to stay alive. So
Were were there unforeseen challenges that might have affected the timeline, though?
Not unforeseen, but there's always challenges. There just are. And again, because of who she is, this operation needed to start and keep going until completion. So we didn't want to start it until we knew for sure that our primary plans and objectives tactically would work, and that we can guarantee and ensure her safety, and that if there were challenges that we could pivot appropriately, which is if you think about operationally, if you think about time as a pie, I spend about 50% of my time thinking about the plan B, C's, and D's, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because this is not Uber.
Did you stick to plan A in the end?
Yes. Yep. The plan that we initiated is the plan that we concluded.
Talk
Correct.
to me about what happened. I mean, how much can you share about the logistics of getting
W-
Corina out and safely to Oslo?
So obviously she had to go from where she was to to a start point, and that obviously that is filled with intelligence and counterintelligence concerns because she's so high profile. She's, as you know, she's a household name. So that simple movement, the most vulnerable part from an intelligence perspective, was that first movement of getting her from where she was to where she needed to be
Without
to
people
enter.
recognizing her.
Correct. Without preferably not even being seen, let alone people recognizing her. If it were,
So she
um,
was hiding throughout this process on land.
she's been in hiding for many months.
I know
So
that part. I mean, literally hiding as she's
of
moving through in
course,
vehicles with
yeah.
people around.
This was all about keep as many eyeballs as we can looking another direction, and none of those eyeballs seeing her at any given time until she emerged in Norway. That was a consistent theme through the entire operation, all phases of the operation.
How big was your team on the ground? Can't disclose. No worries. No
but,
worries. Tell
but I'll
me.
say
Yeah,
small, small.
small.
We actually had, just for perspective, one of my teammates texted me. One of the folks that works for me texted me, saw Maria and all this stuff on TV, and said, "Wow, we should have done that."
Amazing.
Okay. So
It,
not everyone, so the different components of the different people involved for security reasons don't know everything. The Cuban intelligence, the DGI, is very sophisticated. The Sabine, the Venezuelan intelligence service, is extremely sophisticated. And she has a very large target on her back. So this is not a random shopkeeper who doesn't want to be in Venezuela anymore, and we need to kind of move them around and whatever. This is moving around a rock star. So the security concerns and the operational security concerns and the counterintelligence concerns with this operation were paramount. And again, this is why it worked. Is I'm a career counterintelligence officer, so this is what we do. This is very much what we do, and probably the reason why we were called to do it, if I had to guess.
this took 4 days. What was the hardest part? What was the biggest challenge? And of course, you've mentioned she's a public figure. She's very recognizable. Clearly, she had to be hidden. Can you talk a little bit about the challenges you were facing beyond that moving?
The biggest challenge beyond her, she was the biggest challenge, right? We don't know who around her is even maybe working for the bad guys. Happens all the time. Happens all, that's not a reflection on her team at all, but that's just a fact of life with all politicians and all leaders of any country, of any government. That's always how it is. They're targets of intelligence services. I am pretty sure that the Sabine would love to have somebody in Maria's inner circle. I'm pretty sure they try really hard to do that. So my job is to be a worrywart. My job is to worry about every little thing, anything that we can think of. So that was the who, meaning Maria, was the biggest problem. Not that Maria is a problem, but the who she is and her status. And the other big problem is that this is multimodal. The most dangerous thing in operations of any kind are moments of transition. When I was with Navy Special Warfare, one of the things that we'd always talk about, the best way to kill Navy SEALs is when they're going from water to land, when they're taking their flippers off, because you're vulnerable. The other best way is to kill Navy SEALs when they're going from land into water,
What was
transitioning.
that transition like in this case?
Very complicated. Very complicated. We had multiple transitions in multiple domains, through multiple vehicles, through multiple modes of transportation. Again, there was a land component, a maritime component, and an aviation component. And at any one of those moments, at any one of those transition moments, and there were transition moments through those area, through that pipe, if you will, through that mechanism, which is what we call it, a mechanism. Um, Everything and anything can go wrong. So that's where it's always at those moments when communications become a challenge, or navigation becomes a challenge,
Were there any
or
were there any close calls, any direct threats you had to deal with?
um I get asked this question all the time and I never know how to answer it. Until she's safe, every breath is a close call.
Mhm.
Every moment. Any moment we could have a problem. And that problem we may have thought about or maybe have not thought about. At any moment, and things go wrong. And it's not just the doom and gloom, all the military, tactical, dangerous stuff. Things happen. Engines break. Cars get flat tires. So when you ask, were there any close calls? Every moment our blood pressure is high even when my hands are on her and I've secured her, we still have to make our way. We still have a very long journey ahead of us and things can go wrong. Boat
What was
sink, things happen.
what was that moment like? At what point did you personally interact with her at for the first time?
I'll tell you, I personally, I was starstruck. She's a hero of mine. So uh, when I got to see her for the first time and validate that it was her, my heart skipped a beat.
Where were
Um,
you? I mean, is this on the boat? Is this on land?
yeah, we were at sea. We were at sea, and very horrible maritime operations. The maritime domain is the scariest domain. Land, air, and sea. Sea is where things go potentially really wrong. Um, the maritime domain is the most unforgiving domain. This was in the middle of the night with very little moon, a little bit of cloud cover, very hard to see. Boats have no lights. We're
This
doing
was
this
last night. This was on Tuesday night.
yes. The
Today's
uh,
Wednesday.
we had some moonlight, a little bit of moonlight, but not much. Um, and the seas were not horrible, depending on, everyone talks about what were the seas like. Well, that's really based on what kind of boat you're in. If you're in a giant cruise ship, it's not so bad. If you're in a smaller boat, it can be pretty horrible. So,
Speaking of boats, the US military was obviously aware of what you were doing, correct? Given our surveillance on boats in the Caribbean.
I'm certain that people were watching us, but I'm not in the army or the military, so uh, I don't. I can't say that anybody called me to say, "Hey, so we see you." That didn't happen.
So there wasn't
Um,
coordination. I mean, it's been said that there were F-18s that were flying in the area that might have been connected to this operation, that she might have been escorted by some military, either aircraft or boats. None of that happened.
what I'll say is again is we transmit up.
Hmm.
So we let some of our friends in the military know what we were doing and where we were doing it.
Okay.
And uh, um, in such a way where I said it would be awesome if you guys were paying attention. It would be great. To say that I was on the phone with an FA-18 flying over on a radio coordinating air support, we don't need to do that because the reality is they'll be able to see the problems before I do anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't really contribute to that conversation a whole lot, other than please don't kill us.
President Trump has talked about the CIA somehow extracting Maduro, taking him out. There is a great deal of concern from the regime about any Americans coming in and doing something kind of like what you were doing, but against Maduro. Were you concerned? Is that a risk? Is that part of your planning that they might think you are there not to take Maria Corina out of the country, but to take Maduro out?
Of course, our job is to be undetected. I don't want anyone to know. Again, this goes to the counterintelligence piece. I don't want to deconflict with the Maduro regime to say, so we're only coming from Maria. You don't have to worry about us. We would never do that.
What was the risk for her? Is the
Huge.
risk that they would imprison her? Was that still a threat even
I
as
think so.
going to pick up the Nobel? I mean, what was the
Yeah,
risk she was facing if they detected what was happening?
I think the risk is I think could have even been that they kill her. The Maduro regime is not just the intelligence service and is not just the army. They have the collectivos. It could be some random peasant, some guy.
Even if the government understands it's not smart to do something like that, somebody who is allied to the
Yeah,
government
some
or loyal
random.
to the government could play hero in their mind.
Yep,
And
some random kid who recognizes her. This is why the who part of this operation is so dangerous. Is some random again, when these operations go wrong, it's never the way people think. It's never, the Venezuelan F-16 scrambled and we're going to do a strafing run on a boat that they don't know. It's never that. It's always some um, thing that should not matter a whole lot, but is actually the most important piece. So,
technically speaking, I'm curious about did she had to hide through checkpoints? Were there any interactions with security? Are there any details you can provide to kind of paint the picture of what
yeah,
happened in the moments leading up to her meeting you on that boat?
yeah. So I want to be careful how I answer this question. So just
Yeah,
give me a second.
yeah, yeah.
The oppressive nature, the oppressive nature of being a opposition leader, and a very well established opposition leader, as it relates to moving around the land, sea, or air of country or countries that may not like you, is extreme. We obviously, it's not a secret. There's lots of checkpoints in Venezuela. They're on all the major roads. They're all over the place. The Maduro regime has gone full shields up, and taken a very defensive posture because of the American military buildup and the presence and everything that's going on with that. The radars are active. The planes are flying around. The drone activity is very real. The electronic warfare piece is very real. The human intelligence piece, as far as the Venezuelan intelligence services and security services, who they have on their payroll, is extremely real. The number of people who are loyal to Maduro out of necessity,
Yeah.
is extreme. Most bad guys that work for Maduro don't want to actually work for Maduro. They have to work for Maduro. So all these pieces, biometrics. By the biometric threat, no one ever really talks about, but the reality is our face is our face. Anyone who's traveled recently knows how easy it is to travel because of biometrics.
She couldn't just go to an airport. She couldn't get in a plane. You had to
Uh,
her
that
by
was one of our oddly when you funny, that was one of our potential one of the options that we looked at is flying an aircraft into Venezuela and figuring out a way to get her on that aircraft. And the reason why that wouldn't work is because of biometrics.
Mm.
That's that's why it wouldn't work.
So
So
safest was by water. She didn't cross the Colombian border.
she did not go through Colombia. But again, that was a contingency that we had. If in the middle of the operation, if in the middle of the operation, for whatever the reasons are, technical, tactical, threat,
Mm.
an engine failing, whatever, land movement to either Colombia or Brazil or Guyana was absolutely established and absolutely a consideration for sure as a plan B, as a
What
contingency.
what did she tell you? What did you tell her? And what did she look like when you encountered her?
Um, all of us were pretty wet. My team and I were soaked to the gills. She was pretty cold and wet too. She had um, arduous, a very arduous journey
How
up,
long
uh,
was she traveling for?
all in, uh, uh, 15, 16 hours. It was a long time at night. The sea state was very poor. The
And that's
weather,
not counting the flight to Oslo.
correct, correct. Yeah.
Important because that's a long flight.
We had to do that. You turn into, a day, almost a day.
So 15, 16 hours just to get to you.
Uh,
Or
uh,
until she could get on a plane.
until she get on a plane. Correct.
Okay, so what did she tell you? What did you tell her?
It was a moment that I will never forget. I'll tell you that much. She was we validated that she was who she was because there's always concerns. Sometimes that goes wrong even. So we validated who she was and um, um, got her onto our boat and I said, I yelled to her and I said, Maria, Maria, and she yells back, it's me, Maria. I like that. And we do like a password thing and all that stuff, but we didn't do that with her. It was the first time.
Recognize her.
Yeah. And so we got her on the boat and I said, my name is Bryan Stern from Grable Rescue. Welcome aboard.
What was her reaction? Was she
She
relieved?
was, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. She was very happy. She's very excited. She's very tired, very wet, very cold. Um, it's not a fun, doing these operations is never fun for anybody. It's never fun for the rescue team. It's never fun for the evacuee. It's never, it's never, we don't evacuate people in limousines. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that. I'm curious. I guess, people were really expecting her to be there this morning. You say, look, it takes time. It sounds like you've been planning this for how long? Months? 4 months?
Her operation was just a few days.
Just a few days.
Yeah, yeah. Friday to Monday.
So from Friday to Monday is when you were working on the operation.
Correct.
Was there somebody else who was planning on doing this before and then they shifted gears? I'm curious about the TikTok and not being able to make it to Oslo this morning.
Yeah,
No, that's not your priority. Just in general, like to understand, was there some alternative plan that needed to be taken?
yeah, I don't know. I know about us. I don't know about others. We've heard rumors, that others had tried and failed. We've heard others that were going to try and then backed out. We've heard, but I don't know the details. It's all rumor stuff. Would not surprise me if other people tried and it didn't work out too good. We've heard some pretty horrible stories. How much of those are true or just folklore are unknown to me. What I know is that when my team shows up, we don't leave until we win. Um, and there was no way that once we committed to doing this, there was no way that she was going to stay in Venezuela.
Is she going back though?
You have to ask her. I don't know.
She says she is.
She
Would you
says
be
she's
able
also,
to help get her back in?
I think she's crazy. She's such a tough, they call her the Iron Lady for a reason. Um, uh, I told her don't go back. I told her don't go back. I'll tell you that.
So
We
you
had a
won't be helping sneak her back in.
we've never done an infill. We've only done exfills. So I don't think so. Um, I don't think so, and we'll see what happens. That's for her to determine and for her to decide. But I think she should not go back. I think that she wants to. Maria is truly inspirational. From a leadership perspective, she inspires me. She's inspired me for years, and to see, what when to just we spoke last night on the boat late at night, and it was cold and it was wet, and we're all pretty miserable. Um, and we had a conversation about her children, and w my team and I have rescued 8,400 people, over 8,400 people, and of all shapes and sizes, of all manner of rich people, poor people, kids, a lot of kids. Um, and it's the, I don't know how to say this in a way that sounds appropriate, but I don't, she's still a mom who's not been able to see her kids for 2 years. 2 years. The sacrifice that Maria has made for her people, as a guy who sacrifices a lot for my people, um, the idea that she sacrificed how much she's given for her cause, which is just, and her convictions, which are real, against a regime which is horrible, the idea that she has been so selfless. And we talked about her seeing her children for the first time in 2 years, and I almost cried. She's still she's a tough as nails, hard as woodpecker lips woman person. Um, but she's still a mom. And she talked about how excited she was to see her children, and it's been 2 long years. We talked a lot about this, and we see that all the time with all of our operations. 800 missions later, everyone's someone's son or daughter or husband or wife or father or mother or whatever. But to hear, um, it was profound to me to hear someone who I idolize, frankly, right? She's still just a mom. She's still just a mom who misses her kids. And it struck me so deep. We talked more about her kids we didn't talk politics at all. We didn't talk about on when we were when we were on the water. We didn't talk about Maduro. We didn't talk about narcotics. We didn't talk about freedom. We didn't talk about we
Family.
yeah, yeah, and it struck me so. It struck me so.
Tonight I heard a video from the Venezuelan regime, one of the leaders, Diosdado Cabello, saying, "We put her in Europe," basically taking credit for potentially looking the other way or assisting in some way. What do you tell people who might hear that and believe that?
Diosdado Cabello also says he invented aluminum foil. So, I don't. I would say that's pretty funny, is what I would say. I would say there's the um, that statement is as real as the Easter Bunny, is what I would say. Um,
Do
there's
you,
not a
I
not
guess,
a truth to that whatsoever.
do you think there's some truth that the government might have looked the other way and that none of this might have been necessary?
I don't. I don't think there's any truth to that at all, and I know definitively that that's not true. That there were that's patently false. I think, we see this with the Russians all the time when we do some of our more daring operations against the Russians, and they always come out and they say, yeah, 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 we didn't want him anyway. Well, then,
Hmm,
then
hmm.
why were you holding him then? Why didn't you just drop him off?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Diosdado Cabello, all these Tariq El Asame, Tariq El Saab, all these guys haven't, uh, they struggle with truth and accuracy.
Eric Saab said that if she left, she would be considered a fugitive. But then
uh,
Dallas said, we put her in Europe. We
you,
placed her in Europe. So there,
one of the things that have plagued the Maduro regime from a management and governance perspective is the left hand doesn't always talk to the right hand, and you see that with every criminal enterprise. You see that with the Bloods and the Crips and the mafia, and and the Maduro regime. I've spoke on this at length over the years.
yeah.
When I think about the Maduro regime, I equate them to they're analogous to they're just a criminal. All they are is a criminal enterprise that happens to enjoy a seat at the United Nations.
Mhm.
That has they're a criminal enterprise with sovereignty. That's all it is. But a criminal enterprise nonetheless. So Diosdado Cabello and all these characters who, frankly, notwithstanding geopolitics and all those things, the United States military may be picking a fight with the Maduro regime. Grable Rescue is not. We're not. I don't. We're a life-saving organization. I don't. That's not our. We don't fight with anyone ever. Um, um, and we avoid them at all costs. We're much more about making a magic trick,
Yeah.
more than anything else. I don't want to have to. Um, they don't want to know us, and we don't want to know them either. We're a life-saving. We're a humanitarian outfit, first and foremost. So, our website, we're donor funded.
I was going
We're
to ask about that. So you're donor funded for an operation like this? Who pays for that?
There was a few generous donors who,
Okay,
I'm not at liberty to disclose,
sure, sure. But
but
donors who paid for the rescue, people
correct.
who are
Yeah,
allied with her in some form,
correct, correct.
but
People,
not
I
the
would say
US
donors.
government.
No, the U.S. government did not contribute a single penny to this operation, at least not that I know of. We have no contractual. We're not contractors. We're not. You know.
And among the donors, it's not US officials.
No, 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 no. I think that there were a few donors.
Mhm.
I think that there were a few donors, but none of the no government, no one with a .gov or .gov or .mil email address
Yeah.
financially contributed to this
American
operation.
tax dollars didn't go to.
No, no, American tax dollars definitely did not go to this. Maria represents a lot of what we all fought for in the military. Her goals and values and traits and her toughness are things that we as soldiers really admire, really do. And it sounds a little hokey and cheesy and all that, but um, I have Navy SEALs reaching out to me saying, epic op, bro, like, wow. And, very, complimentary, like we did a lot of, unofficial communication with friends in the government.
Mhm.
And at no time, um, which happens at no time was anyone against this.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that 800 missions later, we've never experienced that. And she's been beaten for her cause. She's been assaulted, all kinds of crazy stuff. She's been in hiding and not seeing her kids and all kinds of things that, especially in the military, we too don't see our kids. We too get beat up sometimes. We too sacrifice. We can when I see Maria, I really am inspired by her. And so many people that I've interacted with the last few days have similarly been inspired to, not just because it was a crazy operation and all the other things, but very much because of who she is. And truly, this is the most amazing. I mean, I've done ops. We've done 800 missions as a non-pro as a in the private sector. Government operations, I'm in thousands, and this is certainly um, this is the first hero of mine that I've ever rescued.
Wow.
So,
That, that's a big deal for you.
truly. I could stop right now and like I don't know that I'll ever top this one. This one this is pretty good.
Well, congratulations.
We analyzed a lot. We spent a lot of time looking at every little thing because this is a very dangerous operation. Make no mistake, this was not, nothing about this operation was calm. Nothing. Not one moment of it was calm, even at any point. No one's blood pressure was low at all throughout any phase of this operation, including mine. Um, it was dangerous. It was scary. The sea conditions were ideal for us, but certainly not water that you would want to be on. Certainly not. That's why it was advantageous to us. The higher the waves, the harder it is for radar to see. That's how it works. So low profile operations are always complicated and
The
always
maritime part was how long?
13, 14 hours
13, 14 hours
at sea.
at sea. Okay. The part of the operation that, I mean, the actual, that mission from land to sea, how many people were involved?
Uh, um,
Like, how big was your team, I guess?
we don't want to give out specific numbers, but with everything, with everybody, about 2 dozen
Okay.
all in. But again, that's misleading because um, um, it's a misleading number. It's a very misleading number, but many,
Okay.
many.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I have 5 intelligence analysts in America that have not slept for 4 days.
Wow.
They were as important as one of the boat captains. They were just as important. So this is when we do these operations, the way to think about these things conceptually
Mhm.
is like a symphony, like an orchestra. You have the string section, you have the violin guys, you have the clarinet guys, you have the trombone people, you have the drum people, the saxophone people. The saxophone people don't know how to play the violin, and the violin people don't know how to read the music of the
Yeah.
saxophone.
So you need everyone.
And when you play the music, if one instrument is off key, that's the one that everyone hears. Everything has to work in perfect harmony at all times, even though the saxophone people have no idea how the violin people do what they do, and the violin people have never touched a saxophone before. Everyone has to operate in harmony to make music, and that's very much how these things are. And if one instrument is off key, you don't hear music, you hear noise. And that's the one thing that is a problem. And that's when things fall out of the sky. And that's when bad things really happen, is if one instrument is off key.
Yeah.
And that's how this operation was. Everybody played on key. A very large orchestra made beautiful music for a very, very, very good reason, to rescue an absolute hero of freedom and democracy. And everybody played on key, even though we were all in different orchestras at some point.
Mm.
Language barriers even.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this operation, for perspective, there are 4 different languages spoken.